Hello, fifth grade. Today's math lesson was over lesson 2.2, which is thousands to thousandths. So that means that today in front of our decimal point, we are going to have some whole numbers, some big numbers like dollars, and then we'll have those numbers that come behind our decimal just like we did yesterday. Today's notes is going to be some practice with some different things that we can do with decimal numbers. However, your assignment will be more of a review from yesterday. So our notes are just to practice and to kind of get the hang of doing these different things with our decimal numbers, but your assignment will look a little bit different and it will just be reviewing from yesterday. So you might need to go watch the video for lesson 2.1 if you're having a trouble on today's assignment. But let's take a look at what we did for notes today in math. We can write decimal numbers in several different ways, just like we do other numbers whenever you are in fourth grade. We have standard form, which just means a normal number. We have word form, which means to write it out in words. And we have expanded form, which is where we stretch it out to make the number a whole lot bigger by looking at the different place values. There is also one called expanded form powers of 10. We're not going to worry about that one today. We will practice it again when we come back and we look at these notes a second time. To help us, I have also put our place value chart up here just like we drew yesterday. So remember, in front of the decimal, that's our ones. Then we have the decimal point, and behind the decimal, we have three place values: the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousandths. Let's go ahead and get started with this first example. They have given us this number in standard form, and they would like for us to put it in word form. In order to do that, we want to break down the number. So first, we look at what comes in front of the decimal. How would I say that number that you see right there? 35. I'm going to write down exactly what I would say. So 35. Remember, if I have words that end in a ty, I put a dash between it and the next word. So 30 ends in ty, so I have to put a dash before I put the 5. After I write that number, I'm at the decimal. And when we see the decimal, we write the word and. So 35 and then I go to behind my decimal, so cover up everything in front. How would I read that number that comes behind my decimal? That is a 26. So I would write down 26. I need that dash again because it's a ty word, 20-6. And then to finish this out, I have to see what place value my decimals are in. So looking at this number, how many numbers did I have behind my decimal point? I had 3 numbers. So I need to go up here to my place value chart and think if I had 1, 2, 3 numbers, what place value would that be? The thousandths. So I have to write thousandths as my last word in my word form. Thousandths, because that's telling everyone else what my decimal place value is. Thousandths. And that's how you write it in word form. Next, it would like for us to try to write it in expanded form. To write in expanded form, we always start at the front of our number. So here we have a 3. How much is that 3 worth? Like, is it worth 3,000? Is it worth 300? Is it just worth 3? Is it worth 30? Is it worth 3 million? How much is that 3 right there worth? It is worth 30. Then I put a plus, and I move down to my next number in line, which is the 5. And I'm asking myself the same question. How much is my 5 worth? Is it like 500, 5, or just 50, or 5,000? How much is that 5 right there worth? It is just worth 5. Then I put a plus, and I slide down to my next number. Oop, it's a 0. What happens when we come to a 0 in expanded form? You just skip it. It's like a freebie. You don't have to do it. So we skip that one and just go right to the next one. Now we're in the decimals, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. How many places after the decimal is this 2? It is 2 spots after the decimal. So when I write it down here, I'm going to make sure that it stays 2 spots behind the decimal. And I just fill in everything else with zeros. Plus, and I go to my next number, which is the 6. Remember, I'm in my decimal, so you have to ask yourself, how many spots behind the decimal am I? Well, we're 3 spots back there. So I'm going to write down everything with zeros until I get to that spot where my 6 needs to be, and then put my 6. I'm still 3 spots behind the decimal. I have to keep it in the same place as it was up there. So it was 3 spots behind. I keep it 3 spots behind and just put zeros in front until I get there. All right, let's try another one. This time they gave us word form and they want us to do the other 2. So their word form says 8 and 35 hundredths. We'll find that and. And means that's where my decimal point is at. So I'm going to put a decimal point up here. What numbers are going to come in front of my decimal point? Just an 8 because it says 8. 8 and, now I know this comes behind my decimal point. It says 35 hundredths. All right, we've got to look up at our place value chart. Hundredths is right here, so that means I should have 2 numbers after my decimal. What 2 numbers should come after my decimal? 35. 8.35 is 8 and 35 hundredths. Now we're going to take that number that we just made and we are going to expand it out to make it in expanded form. Remember, start from the front and you're asking yourself, how much is this 8 worth? Is it worth 8,880? Just 8? How much is that worth? Just an 8 plus, slide my finger down. Oop, now I'm in my decimals. So I want to keep this in the same spot. The 3 is right behind the decimal. So I'm going to put 0.3 plus, slide my finger on down to the next number, which is this 5. How many spots behind the decimal is my 5? It is 2 spots back there. So I'm going to copy it down, putting in zeros until I'm ready to put my 5 so that it stays 2 spots behind the decimal. Just like that. All right, nice job. Let's do one more example here together. This time they gave me expanded form. Ooh. So they've already stretched this number out long. 70 plus 2 plus 4/10 plus 9 hundredths. Now, to get standard form, we just have to take this long stretched out number and squish it back together. So when I squish that back together, it would be 72.49. I'm just taking those and squishing them back together to get one number instead of it being all spread out like that. 72.49. Lastly, we need to change that into word form because that is the only way that we are missing. So remember, look in front of the decimal. How do I say that number that's in front of there? 72. So write down exactly what we said, 72. Remember, you need that dash. Any TY word has to have a dash behind it. Then I'm at my decimal point. What word do I write when I get to my decimal point? And. Now I'm behind my decimal. So we'll cover that up. What is that number back there? How do I say that? 49. Writing down exactly what I say. Don't forget your dash with that TY word. And last but not least, we need one of these place value words up here. So I look at my number. How many numbers do I have behind my decimal? 2. So I need to go up here. If I go 2 spots behind my decimal, what place value is that? That is the hundredths. So my very last word that I need to write here is hundredths. and then my word form is complete. So like I said, this was our first day of practice with this. We will practice some more with standard form, word form, and expanded form using our decimals. But your assignment today is going to be more of review from yesterday, just remembering how to write those decimals. So make sure that you use this place value chart to help you. Good luck. Do your best.